let's discuss this compound interest. Okay, so let's try to understand how can we calculate compound interest. Okay, calculation. Okay, say for example, I will try to explain you people with an example. Say so for example, I will mention the name of a person, for example Aslam. Say he for example, he took a loan of rupees 10,000 from a bank. Okay, at the rate of 10% per annum. Okay, it means per year. Okay, say for example Aslam, he borrowed the loan of rupees 10,000 from a bank at the rate of 10% per annum. Okay, so this Aslam has to pay after 1 year. Okay, he has to pay after 1 year. So that means he has to pay this amount, the amount that he has taken in the form of a loan, and 10% of it, right? So what will be the amount that he pays after the completion of the period of 1 year? So that will be principal plus simple interest. Okay, that is equal to 10,000 plus 10% of 10,000, right? The amount that he will pay back to the bank will be principal amount plus 10% of it. That is equal to 10,000 plus 10% of it is 1,000. Okay, you can calculate this by by the formula P times R times T divided by 100, right? With this formula you can find that 10% of 10,000 is 1,000. Okay, the total amount that he will pay is 11,000, right? Okay, so that means after the completion of 1 year, Aslam will pay the total amount. Okay, the total amount means the principal amount and the simple interest of that amount. Okay, so that means 10,000 plus 10% of 10,000, that is equal to 10,000 plus 1,000. The total amount is 11,000 rupees, right? What if Aslam could not pay after 1 year the amount to bank, right? Say for example Aslam could not pay the amount to bank after the completion of 1 year. Okay, so what he decides to take the amount for 1 more year. So that means now he has taken the same loan. Since he failed to pay back to the bank, the amount is lying with him, and he decides that I will pay the bank the amount after the completion of 2 years. Now if he fails to pay back the amount to bank, so the principal amount for the second year will be 10,000 plus simple interest of the first year, that means 1,000, right? That means 11,000 rupees. Now this will become the principal amount for the second year. Since Aslam could not pay the amount to the bank after 1 year, okay, he decides that he will pay the amount to the bank after the completion of 2 years. So what will happen that this amount will be the principal amount for the second year, right? So for second year he has to pay back the amount, this amount plus 10% of this amount, right? So that means it will be so that means the amount that he will pay back to the bank after the completion of 2 years will be principal for second year plus simple interest, right? That is 11,000 plus 10% of 11,000. That is equal to 11,000 plus 1,100, 1,100. 10% of, okay, 10% of 11,000 is 1,100. Okay, you can calculate using the formula for calculating simple interest. The total amount that he will pay after the completion of 2 years is 12,100 rupees. Okay, so Aslam has to pay back the amount of 12,100 rupees to the bank after the completion of 2 years. Now, the very important point regarding this is that we have calculated this amount. We have calculated this amount. We have calculated this amount 2 times. We have calculated this amount 2 times using simple interest formula, P times R times T divided by 100. Okay, in the first year the amount was 10,000. Okay, so at the rate of 10% per 1 year, the simple interest comes out to be 1,000. The total amount that Aslam had to pay back to the bank after the completion of 1 year comes out to be rupees 11,000. So since he could not pay back the amount to the bank, then this becomes the principal for second year, right? So at the rate of 10% of this, the amount that come out in the form of simple interest is 1,100. Okay, now the total amount that he has to pay after the completion of 2 years is 12,100 rupees. So now, the point that is very important to understand is that we calculated this amount 2 times using simple interest formula, right? Now let us use a single formula to calculate the same. Now let's use single formula, okay, which will help us to calculate the interest, to calculate the amount, okay, in one go, right? Okay, so the formula for the calculation of compound interest is A is equal to P times A plus R by 100 raised power n. Okay, so A here, A is the amount. Okay, so the amount that is to be given back, that is to be paid back, okay, after the completion of some period, okay, that's called as amount. A is equal to the amount, the amount which is to be given back, okay, to the lender or to a bank, right? Then P is P, that is principal amount, the amount which you have taken, okay, and R is equal to the rate of interest, okay. Then there is a lost symbol n. N is time intervals. It can be 1 year, it can be 2 years, it can be 3, 5, it can be half an year, right? So let's try to calculate compound interest using this formula. Okay, so this is the formula for the calculation of compound interest. Okay, in one go. So we will see how this formula gonna help us in calculation of the compound interest in the next video lecture. Okay, let's know how this formula gonna help us in calculating the interest compound in a compound manner. Okay, how to calculate the compound interest. See, here is example in which amount is 10,000, rate of interest is 10%, and time is 1 year. But here there is an important thing that's mentioned here: interest compounded half yearly. So here time interval is half year, that means 6 months. So 1 year constitutes 2 half years, right? So 1 year contains 2 half years, 6 months plus 6 months. So we can say that time here is time interval, that means n here is 2. In this case, p is equal to 10,000, rate is equal to 10%, time is equal to 1 year. Okay, but n is equal to 2 because interest is compounded half yearly. So using this formula, we can calculate the amount. So a is equal to p means principal amount, means 10,000, times 1 plus r means 10 divided by 100, and n, this since interest is compounded half yearly, and it is equal to 2. So therefore a becomes 10,000, right, times, okay, you have to divide this. Okay, you can make the division. This 0 cancel. Now 1 divided by 10 is equal to 0.1, right, raised to power 2. Okay, fine. Now this amount will become 10. Amount is equal to 10,000. 1 plus 0.1 is equal to 1.1 raised to power 2, raised to power 2. Okay, now this amount will be equal to, a is equal to 10,000 into, this means into 1.1 means 1.21, right? 1.1 means 1.21. Now we have to make the multiplication here. Okay, we will get the amount after the period of 1 year compounded half yearly. 10,000 into 1.21 is equal to 12100. So that means this is the amount that one has to pay back if the interest is compounded half yearly. Okay, so in case of if we do not know this formula, then we have to calculate the interest 2 times in using a simple interest formula. But this formula helps us in calculating this amount in one go. Okay, let's take another example. Here is another example in which principal is equal to rupees 2,000. Okay, rate is 20%, and time is equal to duration of time which the loan has been taken, that is 1.5 years. Okay, so here it is mentioned that interest compounded half yearly. So that means there are 3 half years in the time period of 1.5 year. Okay, so that means n is equal to 3, right? So using this formula, amount is equal to, principal amount is 2,000 times 1 plus 20 divided by 100 raised to power 3, right? Okay, then amount is equal to 2,000, okay, times 0, 2 1s are 2, 2 5s are 10. Okay, then 5 1s are 5 plus 1 divided by 5 raised to power 3, so which implies amount is equal to 2,000 into 6 divided by 5, right, into 6 divided by 5 raised to power 3. Okay, now if we make this, if you reduce this fraction, 5 1s are 5, okay, 5 1s are 5, 5 2s are 10, 1.2. So that means, which implies amount is equal to 2,000 into 1.2 raised to power 3. Okay, so that means, which implies amount is equal to 2,000 into 1.2 raised to power 3. That means we have to multiply 1.2 3 times. 1.2 into 1.2 into 1.2, that is equal to 1.728. So after the necessary multiplications here, we get the amount. Amount is equal to 3,456 rupees. So this is how we can calculate the amount. Okay, calculate the amount using this formula. Now, since if in case when the time is 2 years and if the interest is compounded yearly, So what will our this calculation, how will our calculation go? In that case, since the time is 2 years and interest is compounded yearly, so in that case n is equal to only 2. So you have to write n is equal to 2, and using this formula you can calculate the interest, compound interest, right, for the period of 2 years. Okay, so when the time period is 2 years and the interest is compounded yearly, that in that case you have to write n is equal to 2. Okay, so in the next video lecture we'll be talking about discount percentage. Okay, in the next topic we'll be talking about discount percentage.